Apparently, producer Michael Bay went back in time and changed this movie's release date. You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of Project Almanac.
Hey, what is this?
That's my 7th birthday.
Whoa, did you see that?
Hold on a sec.
What?
I just saw something weird.
You guys.
You gotta see this. Right there. Look in the mirror.
Dude, that can't be.
That's definitely me. We need to figure out what I'm doing on the tape.
You hear that?
It's in my dad's old workshop.
It's like a clicking or something.
What the hell is that?
Here we go, Project Almanac. Temporal relocation prototype?
What does that mean?
It means time travel.
We should try to build it.
You guys are crazy. We can't build a time machine.
Did you see the tape? I mean, I think we already did build it.
Not too long ago, the first trailer for Welcome to Yesterday popped up, and audiences were pretty stoked, which made it all the more confusing when Paramount abruptly pulled the film from its February 2014 release date and didn't announce a new one. In many ways, Welcome to Yesterday just disappeared. Now, almost a year later, here comes Project Almanac in shiny new MTV Films packaging. Yes, if someone said Welcome to Yesterday hit theaters and bombed, so Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes and Paramount went back in time and changed everything so they could try it again, it wouldn't be so hard to believe, right? And to be honest, suddenly Project Almanac's prospects are looking pretty good. While the winter movie season is traditionally bleak, January 30th, 2015 is particularly bleak, with only Black or White and another film that spent a lot of time on the shelf, the remake of Belgium's The Loft. This is another found footage movie, a la the Blair Witch Project, Cloverfield, and most recently Chronicle, shot way back in 2013 by Dean Israelite. This is his feature debut after making a few short films, and his Hollywood in is his cousin, Jonathan Liebsman, who directed Battle Los Angeles, Wrath of the Titans, and several films for, what do you know, Bay's Platinum Dunes, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That last one was a pretty big hit. Will Project Almanac be another hit for Platinum Dunes, or a slightly older skewing version of Earth to Echo? Project Almanac is a total waste of time, and I feel kind of bad saying that because I try really hard to give movies the benefit of the doubt, to at least understand what their own goals are and if they meet those goals in any way. But Project Almanac is a really unsympathetic movie, not just because of its ending, which I'll get to momentarily, but because it's a pure cash grab. It's a lazy entry in the found footage genre, which at this point I at least wish would just go away. I mean, when found footage first came on the scene, it was a way to be more intimate with the audience, to pull us further into the story. But I think Hollywood just looked at the success of found footage from the surface and didn't really try to understand why it worked so well and why audiences connected with it. So because of that, I feel the found footage genre has devolved to a point where it actually keeps the audience at more of a distance, with choppy narrative and choppy character development. But speaking of characters, that's the one saving grace for Project Almanac, the one element in the film that makes it barely watchable, and that's the charisma of its two lead actors. Johnny Weston is very good as David, the nerdy guy who doesn't realize how good looking he actually is. And that's a tough role to pull off. Just ask anyone who's ever played Clark Kent. But Johnny Weston's very good, and he's likable, I think, to both men and women. So often, half the audience will swoon with this kind of character, while the other half rolls their eyes, being like, oh, come on. But in this case, I think he's just very likable, just a generally likable, well-realized character until the end when it, everything just totally goes off the rails. And again, I'll get to that in a moment, but I wanted to cover that at the very end so you can click out of the video if you don't want the spoiler. But then I said two leads, right? So the object of his affection is played by Sophia Black-D'Elia, and she's the popular girl. And she could have gotten with two stereotypes for this role. She could have been just the mean popular girl who's actually not that mean. Or she could have been the popular girl who everyone underestimates, and she's actually super smart, and how dare you not realize that. But refreshingly, she doesn't go with either of those, and just creates a really realistic portrayal of a person, like a totally well-realized person, with a lot of depth. And she's not as smart as everybody else, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have other really important and great qualities. But at the end of the day, again, as I said, total waste of time besides being a showcase for these two actors. And throughout the film, they reference other time travel movies, and I think your time would be better spent watching any of those films instead of this one. I mean, even a large chunk of the film is just like a date at Lollapalooza, and you're just like, why am I watching this movie again? It really total waste of time. Now, I promised you a spoiler on that unsympathetic ending, so this is your cue to click off the video if you don't want the ending of Project Almanac ruined, although, as I said, I don't think it's worth your time to go and see this. But at the end of the movie, he finally gets to see his dad, who, died when he was 7, and, that's what starts this whole time travel thing, where he realizes he's in the footage from the birthday party, his 7th birthday party, the last time he saw his father alive. So he gets back to that point. He's at the birthday party, as they know from the future, from the footage, and he finally gets to talk to his dad. And he basically decides, and it's hard at this point because the time travel logic got so convoluted here that even an experienced time travel connoisseur like myself, and I'm sure many of you, could not follow it. But he basically was like, I'm just going to let my dad die because if he lives, that might keep me from knowing my hot girlfriend in the future. And at that point, I was just like, you've lost me, movie. You've lost me, character. I don't care about this at all. And this is the final nail in the coffin of this being a waste of my time. I mean, who lets their dad die for a date? Even if it changed the future, it wouldn't have changed his knowledge of the future because he would have to go back so he could just look her up and, if their love is real, it will find a way, right? No matter what the timeline. But that's not the route they went. And then at the end of the movie, even speaking of, time travel loops, etc., that made no sense to me. I was like, but, this couldn't happen unless this happened, and if this happens, that dictates that this has to happen. I mean, really, it's a mess, and it's not worth sorting out because, again, as I said, it's just a lazy cash grab and a waste of time. So that's my review of Project Almanac. Did you find anything, worthwhile with this film? Did you maybe find it a little more sympathetic and you want to defend it? If so, feel free to do so in the comments, and you can check out these other episodes right now.